Out of all of the games in the Legend of Zelda franchise that I've played, and I've played most of them, Link's Awakening is probably tied with Majora's Mask for being my favorite. I've adored Link's Awakening ever since I first got my hands on it as a kid, and that love has only increased as I've grown up and replayed it over the years. As The Legend of Zelda's first portable outing, and following the release of A Link to the Past on the Super Nintendo, it had a lot to live up to, and did so exceedingly well, even being the first game to try out some ideas that went on to become staples throughout the rest of the series. Despite often being listed as one of the best games released on the Game Boy, Link's Awakening sadly seems to be one of the lesser played Zelda games. Thankfully, Nintendo's Virtual Console service has widened availability of the game to those who missed it before or are too young to have played it on release. Unlike a lot of Legend of Zelda games, Link's Awakening doesn't have a grand story to tell, at least at the start. Upon booting up the game, you are shown a short sequence depicting Link sailing across an ocean during a thunderstorm when his small boat is struck by lightning and completely destroyed. Found laying on a beach by a young woman named Marin, Link discovers that he washed up on the shore of an island named Koholint. After finding his sword, Link encounters an owl who explains some of the happenings of late on Koholint, and that the only way to leave the island is to wake the windfish. With nothing else to do but follow the sage advice of this owl, Link sets out, plundering many dungeons across the island to gather the 8 instruments of the sirens, which are the only way to wake the windfish, because apparently alarm clocks haven't been invented yet. So that's it then, a very different story compared to the 3 previous Zelda games. No grand tale of fighting a supreme evil to save the land, just the story of someone lost in a strange place, desperately trying to find their way home. In some ways, it's a lot more down to earth than the previous games. Link is just as much a stranger to this land as we are, and the small island setting and lower population than in previous games means that characters are more unique. Like Tarin, Marin's crazy, mustachioed, mushroom-loving father. That sounds a bit familiar. Or Grandpa Ulrira, who is too socially anxious to speak in person, but acts as the game's "Where do I go next" button if called from one of the many telephone booths scattered across the island. The living, breathing island of Koholint isn't the only example of how Link's Awakening shines. Despite a pretty sizable obstacle in the control limitations of going from the Super Nintendo's 4-button controller to the Game Boy's 2 buttons, the game never really feels clunky or stiff. Sure, the solution of using both buttons for equipment slots can lead to changing what items you have equipped more regularly, but that wasn't something that ever bothered me. This change did mean that the sword, picking things up, and charging with the Pegasus boots had to be converted to usable items, since they no longer could be controlled via dedicated buttons, but that's a relatively small compromise to have made for such an elegant solution. Doing so even allowed for the secret ability to combine bombs and the bow to fire bomb arrows, a concept that was continued in some future Zelda titles. Link's Awakening did more to influence the series than just that, as well. While A Link to the Past set a lot of standards for story and game design for the rest of the series, Link's excursion to Koholint Island also tried out several new concepts that became iconic for the series. The item trading minigame, collectibles hidden around the world that grant you an award for gathering enough, and even being able to play multiple songs on the ocarina all originate from Link's Awakening. It's even the first time that the ocarina, needed to wake the windfish, plays a pivotal part in the story of the game, assuming you don't count the duck from A Link to the Past taking you from Ganon's tower. Other new ideas are less obvious, like the introduction of a magnifying lens that reveals what is hidden, or receiving hints from a mysterious owl, but still had a heavy impact on future games in the series. Though, of course, we can't talk about the influence on other games without discussing how Link's Awakening was influenced by other Nintendo titles. Some of the references to other franchises aren't very subtle, such as the Bow Wows and myriad of other enemies that are heavily inspired by enemies from the Super Mario games, or the Yoshi doll that you win from the Trendy Game Shop. Tarin, as I insinuated earlier in the video, is extremely reminiscent of Mario, with a large mustache and appreciation of mushrooms, as well as being transformed into a raccoon early on in the game. Another character, Mr. Wright, is based off of Dr. Wright from the Super Nintendo release of SimCity. As part of the item trading minigame, you deliver a love letter to him which includes a photo of Christine, the photo really being of Princess Peach from the Mario series, while in actuality Christine is a goat. Yeah, I'm not going there. Yet another interesting reference is to be found in Prince Richard, a character from the Game Boy game Kairu no Tame ni Kane wa Naru, which only saw release in Japan and was the basis for the game engine of Link's Awakening. Many Zelda games revolve around certain themes or concepts that form a basis for their story or the tone that the game tries to present, and Link's Awakening is no different. Twilight Princess plays heavily on the ideas of light, darkness, and the gray that lies between. Even the title alludes to this, as twilight is the intermediate time between day and night. The Wind Waker flirts with prophecy and the cyclical nature of the hero, relatively fitting given the series' faithful following of the hero's journey narrative structure. Majora's Mask places a lot of emphasis on feelings of loss and despair, especially in certain side quests. Link's Awakening, despite its apparent lightheartedness, has some relatively heavy ideas at its core as well. As you push through the game, it is gradually revealed that there are some wider consequences to waking the windfish. The bosses that guard the instruments of the sirens, appropriately named nightmares, are insistent that the windfish must not be awoken. As you near the end of your quest, it becomes apparent that Koholint and all of its inhabitants are part of the windfish's dream, and that by rousing the windfish from its slumber, everything will disappear. The island, the monsters, all the friends you've made, and possibly even Link himself. It's a disturbing revelation, even if these people in this place don't physically exist. To both Link and the player, they're as real as anyone else he's met in his journeys. These are people that bonds have been formed with, that have given advice on where to go next or how to get someplace, that have personalities and charm all their own. Yet they are, seemingly anyway, a figment of the windfish's dream. And the one thing that Link has to do, that he needs to do, will erase them from existence. They'll be gone forever, just like that. And that's the most poignant thing that I pulled from this game. As much of a connection as Link and the player may have to these characters, Link can't stay in this world forever. He has obligations to the outside world. As painful as it might be, the windfish must be woken up. The adventures on Koholint must come to an end, and Link must return to his life. But these experiences and the people he met will never leave him. Despite being just a dream, the time spent on Koholint and with those who lived on the island will always be a part of Link. They're not truly gone. To me, this parallel between Link and the player is beautiful. The ending has both Link and the player waking up, putting down the adventure, and moving on. Whether it be video games, cinema, television, books, or real life, all of our adventures and experiences stick with us for long afterward. For me, Link's Awakening has been one of those adventures, and I just wanted to share the why with you guys. It is an amazingly well-crafted game, and serves as a great reminder that our experiences stay with us and shape who we are as individuals, and that our friends and loved ones will always be a part of us, even if they leave our lives for one reason or another.